The next one is also about one of the places rather nearby. And here again, this is a poem about what it is to be a poet. What purpose does the poet serve? Where does he stand in society? What's his relationship to the place he lives in and so forth? And this touches upon things like that. I made elaborate charts showing me the pages, and I forgot to put where that one was, so I've got to look it up if you'll excuse me for a moment. Where is it? 76, okay. Yes, just not too far away from where I lived. As I say, it was the middle of a big industrial city, but there was one area where the land fell away and nobody had ever been able to build anything on it. Well, the Victorians had tried to build rather elaborate mansions and things, but gradually they'd all subsided and they were all unoccupied amongst trees and briars and all kinds of undergrowth and so on. And this was quite spectacular. In the middle of the city, there was this area of rural kind of, wasteland with the range of these houses. And down below was another part of the city began, and you could see the rest of the city in the distance mistily. And down below there was a race course with a big dirty river flowing through it. So I was on there. I used to go walking there among all the trees and brambles and the disarray and everything. But this poem, you see, like many poems, isn't quite what it appears to be, because it begins between the scented soap works and cloud-capped cooling towers. Well, anybody who was reading it carefully or who remembered things they had read before would immediately remember the most famous cloud-capped towers in English literature, which are the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, which is from the Tempest, which Prospero speaks to out of the Tempest. And it struck me, in fact, that the only cloud-capped towers I've ever seen in my life were the towers of the power station down below this thing. These big concave towers with smoke or something coming out of the top of them. And I thought, that's remarkable. These are actually cloud-capped towers. And what's more, even though this soap works isn't a gorgeous palace, it has the most remarkable fragrance all around it, like the perfumes of Arabia. So he's starting in this peculiar place between these two visions of poetry, and you might guess that the poem is going to be about things like that, apart from anything else. Between the scented soap works and cloud-capped cooling towers, I walked one summer evening, swishing the soot-stained flowers. Below, the black river snaked around the racecourse, drudging to distant sea the dregs of commerce. And huge across my vision, under the streaky sky from Chapel Reach to Pomona Dock, the changing city lay, swarming invisibly with its intricate, restless hordes of common humanity, the keepers of the word. All I have accepted to exercise heart and wit, the unpredictable home of the ever unlikely poet. There on the shifting cliff where nothing built will stand, local eruption of a fault that runs across England, I watch the lights come on and listen to a lover coaxing a silent girl under near cover, and farther off the yells of children at some chase, voices much like my own, the accent of the place. The accent of the place, my claim to a shared load of general circumstance with the hidden multitude. Yet, strange, despite the wish, because my chosen task was the making of poems, I shivered in the dusk, aware that my shining city did not care one jot for me as its celebrant, or whether I wrote or not. I might have been unborn or else long dead. But before I reached my home, I had perfected the sociable, lonely poet, a rueful one-man sect in an ignorant, ugly city, his God-given subject. And that still kind of interests me in a way, to think that an ignorant, ugly city I should consider my God-given subject. And all through the poem there are these contrasts between high and low, and scented soap works and cloud-capped cooling towers and so forth. Many years afterwards, in fact only a few years ago, the BBC moved one of its units up to this city, Salford, which was a sister city of Manchester. And somebody from there rang me and said, we're going to do a little celebration of this. Have you got a poem which is about this city? And the only one I could find referred to it as an ignorant, ugly city. So, of course, I didn't wish it upon them.